Dr. Hamer's concept of the psyche-brain-organ connection suggests that psychological conflicts can lead to physical ailments in specific organs. Not just psychological, not just emotional. We call them psychobiological because the whole mind, brain, body responds to the distressful life situation. And through CT scans, we are able to connect the mind or psyche to the emotion or primal fear and the organ, the body, that responds to the life situation. Remember when I told you about the conflict shock? This shock is a life situation that is perceived by the psyche as distressful, and it synchronously activates the brain relay to the organ that needs to step up to the life situation. Our organs have their own psyche. They have very specific conflicts that they step up to, and they very much make biological sense. Organs evolved to respond to our primal fears since the beginning of life itself. When they respond to an emotional stress, we call that, again, psychobiological, not just emotional. And organs respond to a conflict shock. Remember when I mentioned that the word shock will be very important. We also know this as a biological conflict as it responds to a primal fear, or in GHK, it is called the Dirk Hamer Syndrome, or DHS, in memory of Dirk Hamer, who died in his arms. And this shock is a life situation that is perceived by the psyche as distressful, and a conflict shock needs to follow the following criteria. It is acute, it happens immediately, unexpected, it came from left field, you didn't see it coming, isolated, you feel all alone in this, and caught off guard. What am I going to do? I don't know what I'm going to do. For example, if you saw in your bank account that it zeroed down and you had millions in there, it's acute, unexpected, you feel all alone. Oh no, it's my fault. And caught off guard, what am I going to do? How am I going to pay for anything? How am I going to pay for this and that? What am I going to tell my husband? What am I going to tell my kids? You are caught off guard. This is a conflict shock. Otherwise, if it doesn't fall under these 4 criteria, then it's just an emotional event, not a shocking, perceived, distressful life event. For example, you're deeply saddened that the Pope passed away. It was acute and unexpected, but you didn't feel isolated. You weren't caught off guard. Therefore, it doesn't apply as a conflict shock. Now, we can look at these primal fears. We never expect that they would ever happen to us. And if they do, it comes as a conflict shock. And they are coded since the beginning of time. If they do happen, the psyche-brain-organ relay starts to launch what we call a Senseful Biological Special Program. And we're changing what we call it because disease is always regarded as bad, as negative, the enemy. We need to fight disease. We need to prevent disease. When actually, evolutionarily, nature put it in place for our survival. And I know it's paradoxical. Again, we are looking at all the wrong places. And now because of modern technology and one man's passion to discover and share the truth, we can finally control our biology because we understand it. Let's take Dr. Hamer's case in point. He had testicular cancer 3 months after his son died in his arms, and the psyche perceived a lost conflict. And in the brain relay, we can see a Hamer or Hamer focus on the CT scan. And at the same time, the organ that responds to the life situation are the testicles. And we call this a Senseful Biological Special Program and not a disease, because nature intended for the organ to respond to this primal fear by increasing libido, which means more sexual activity and a new life can be formed. It's a primal response. Whether you're a single-celled organism or a Homo sapien, it has been programmed there by nature for survival. There is rhyme and reason. It is never random. Always check the life situation. It's not a deadly virus or bacteria or fungi. It's a perceived psychobiological, distressful life situation. The conflict's nature dictates the affected organ and the brain region controlling the SBS, or Senseful Biological Special Program. And we can see more common SBSs listed on this page. You'll begin to understand that each organ has its own brain and its own language. It is assigned to respond to a specific primal fear or conflict shock. When people tell me what cancer they have, more often than not, I already know what's going on in their lives. These are the roles that our organs play in line with our evolutionary biological drive to survive and adapt to perceived danger for the purpose of extending life. A primal response to primal fears. It's always been a primal drive for survival, and it has not changed in billions of years. We look at ductal breast cancer as a separation conflict, either by death or departure. The psyche perceives, torn from my breast, my child left and departed, and it was acute, unexpected. I feel all alone and caught off guard. What happened to my child? Where did she go? And the breast responds to that. Colon cancer is an unjust accusation, but it is near the rectum because it is a shitty situation. It's an indigestible anger. It caused me a lot of anger, and I can't digest this. I just can't accept it. For example, when someone is wrongly accused and wrongly jailed for 15 years, he develops colon cancer. The body is trying to get rid of all that shit and trying to digest it, and therefore the mass will appear in the colorectal area because it's trying to get rid of that shit that you can't digest. Again, what is this shit? Shitty people, shitty court cases, shitty divorce court cases, shitty policemen. And the body doesn't know the difference between real shit and figurative shit. Excuse my S word, sorry. And so on and so forth.